a $1 trillion AI complex in the Arizona desert. It sounds like science fiction, but SoftBank's latest project could redefine the future of technology and manufacturing in America.
Wow, that's a bold statement. What exactly are we talking about here?
Well, we're diving into reports that Masayoshi Son, the founder and CEO of SoftBank Group Corp, is planning to develop a massive industrial complex in Arizona focused on artificial intelligence and robotics. And when I say massive, I mean it. We're talking about a project with a potential price tag of $1 trillion.
$1 trillion? That's almost unfathomable. How does that compare to other major investments or projects?
To put it in perspective, it's roughly equivalent to the entire U.S. infrastructure bill. It's more than the GDP of many countries. This project, dubbed Project Crystal Land, is on a scale that's hard to comprehend. The goal is to bring high-tech manufacturing back to the U.S. in a big way, potentially consisting of production lines for AI-powered industrial robots.
That's interesting. But why Arizona? What makes it the ideal location for such an ambitious project?
Well, Arizona's been positioning itself as a tech hub for a while now. You've got companies like Intel and TSMC already establishing major operations there. The climate is stable, land is relatively affordable, and there's a growing, skilled workforce. Plus, the state government has been incredibly supportive of tech industry development, offering tax incentives and streamlined permitting processes.
So if we're talking about AI and robotics, I'm guessing advanced semiconductors are going to play a big role. Is that where TSMC comes in?
Exactly right. SoftBank is reportedly looking to partner with Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Co. on this project. TSMC is the world's leading semiconductor manufacturer, and if you're building AI-powered industrial robots, you're going to need an enormous supply of advanced chips. The semiconductor aspect alone could be worth hundreds of billions of dollars.
This reminds me of something. Wasn't there a similar project in the early days of the auto industry?
You're probably thinking of Henry Ford's River Rouge complex. It was this massive integrated factory that transformed manufacturing in the early 20th century. But Project Crystal Land is on an entirely different scale. We're not just talking about a factory. We're looking at the potential creation of an entire ecosystem for AI and robotics development. Imagine research centers, testing facilities, specialized training programs, and supplier networks all growing up around this complex.
The scale of this is mind-boggling. But let's talk about the challenges. How do you even begin to fund something of this magnitude?
Well, that's where Masayoshi Son's track record comes into play. He's known for making big, bold bets. His early investment in Alibaba, for instance, turned $20 million into $60 billion, but he's also had some notable setbacks, like the WeWork investment that resulted in billions in losses for SoftBank. What's remarkable about Son is his ability to continue thinking big despite these setbacks.
You know, I've been reading about his investment philosophy. He often talks about having a 300-year vision for his company. Do you think this project fits into that kind of long-term thinking?
Absolutely. This isn't just about building a factory. It's about creating what could become the global epicenter for AI and robotics development. Think about how Silicon Valley emerged as the heart of the computer revolution. This complex could do the same thing for the AI revolution. And the timing is crucial. We're at this inflection point where AI and robotics are starting to transform every aspect of manufacturing and industry.
So, what about the environmental impact? Building something of this scale in a desert state like Arizona must pose some serious challenges.
You're right, and that's going to be one of the biggest hurdles. We're talking about facilities that will require massive amounts of water for cooling systems and manufacturing processes. But there's already some interesting technology being developed for water recycling and conservation in semiconductor manufacturing. Companies like TSMC have made significant advances in this area, And this project could actually drive further innovation in sustainable manufacturing.
Hmm, that's a good point. And what about the impact on the local community? How do you prepare a region for this kind of explosive growth?
That's where careful planning becomes crucial. We're essentially talking about building a new city. You need housing for potentially hundreds of thousands of new residents, schools, hospitals, transportation, infrastructure, everything. It's similar to what happened when Tesla built their gigafactory in Nevada, but on a much larger scale. The local government would need to work closely with SoftBank to ensure the growth is managed sustainably.
The educational implications are fascinating too. This could completely transform Arizona's higher education landscape, couldn't it?
Without a doubt. You'd likely see new specialized programs at local universities, technical training centers, research partnerships. This could create a pipeline of talent that would sustain the complex for generations. And it wouldn't just be technical skills. You'd need everything from logistics experts to environmental scientists to urban planners.
Well, what do you think are the odds of this actually happening? It seems almost too ambitious to be real.
That's the fascinating thing about Masayoshi Son. He has a track record of turning seemingly impossible visions into reality. While $1 trillion is an unprecedented investment, the potential return could be even greater. If this complex becomes the center of the AI and robotics revolution, it could generate multiple trillions in economic value over the coming decades.
The global implications are pretty staggering when you think about it. This could shift the center of gravity for AI and robotics development from places like Silicon Valley or Shenzhen to Arizona.
Exactly. And that's really the key point here. This isn't just about building a massive industrial complex. It's about creating a new hub for technological innovation that could shape the future of humanity. Whether this specific project succeeds or not, it's a clear signal that we're entering a new era of ambitious, large-scale industrial development focused on AI and robotics.
Looking at the broader context, this feels like a defining moment for American manufacturing and technology leadership.
You're absolutely right. And even if the final project ends up being smaller than the trillion-dollar vision, the very fact that something this ambitious is being seriously proposed tells us a lot about where we are as a society. We're at a point where the possibilities of AI and robotics are so vast that even trillion-dollar investments don't seem completely outlandish.
So what should we be watching for as this project develops?
Well, there are a few key things to keep an eye on. First, we'll want to see if SoftBank can secure the necessary funding and partnerships. The involvement of TSMC will be crucial. Second, watch for any announcements from the Arizona state government about infrastructure development or policy changes to support the project. And finally, keep an eye on how other tech giants react. This could potentially spark a new space race in AI and robotics development.
It's going to be fascinating to see how this unfolds. Any final thoughts on what this means for the future of technology and manufacturing?
I think the key takeaway here is that we're entering an era where the lines between software and hardware, between digital and physical, are becoming increasingly blurred. This project represents a vision of the future where AI and robotics are so deeply integrated into manufacturing that they're essentially creating themselves. It's a future that's both exciting and a little bit scary, and it's coming faster than many of us realize. Whether Project Crystal Land succeeds or not, it's a clear sign that the AI revolution is no longer just about algorithms and data. It's about reshaping the physical world around us.
Well, that's certainly given us a lot to think about. Thanks for breaking this down for us.
Absolutely. It's a complex topic with far-reaching implications, and I'm sure we'll be revisiting it as more details emerge. For now, we'll just have to wait and see if Masayoshi Son's trillion-dollar dream becomes a reality. But one thing's for sure, the future of AI and robotics is going to be fascinating to watch.